Hey, you know how important it is for a software team to resolve problems and have discussions and exchange ideas in some place which is traceable, which has some history. It could be a chat, it could be maybe a Slack chat or discussion board, it could be an online discussion board, or the best way are tickets, where you start a problem discussion and then everybody posts messages there and then everybody has an ability to reply to those messages. Those are electronic or digital places where a software team is supposed to discuss everything. However, to my experience, according to my observations, people very often are not doing that. I mean, programmers. Even though the team decides that this is the place for us to discuss everything. For example, today it's very popular to have a Telegram chat for a team. There's a group of people working together, software developers, the project manager is also there, the architect, everybody, let's say 10 people. So they create a Telegram chat. That's how we do it very often. They create a Telegram chat and they talk in this chat and discuss everything there. And everybody is supposed to post messages there when something goes wrong and whatever, they need some topic to discuss. And I'm being sometimes a manager, an architect in such a team, or being just a member of the team, I see that people who are members of the team, they're not willing to openly discuss their ideas in the chat, and what they do, they contact me or somebody directly. So they go around that chat. The chat is 10 people staying there. They discuss only some public information which they can discuss. But when people think that it's time to discuss something more interesting and something more difficult, then they go around the chat. They go in face-to-face conversations. Sometimes it happens in personal, like face-to-face, offline conversation. They go to the meeting room and they talk there. Sometimes it's online because modern teams are working remotely, many teams. So they talk in private, face-to-face, one-on-one conversations. Why it's happening? I think, that's my conclusion, that's my understanding of this situation, is that people very often are scared of, I would say, of bullying, even though it sounds like a harsh word, but this is what people are scared about. Scared or being shy or being uncomfortable of discussing something in front of 10 people, or sometimes there are more. They don't feel comfortable. That's why they go around. That's why they contact me directly instead of the chat. We have a chat. You can openly ask your question right there, but they go around, they text me personally, and they ask the question personally. And I sometimes answer, please, let's go to the chat, because we want this information to stay in the chat. We don't want this information to be in our one-on-one conversation, because I want everybody to know what we're talking about, because it's the knowledge base of a project. But no. They say, okay, they go back to the chat, and then tomorrow he or she comes back to me with a different question, but again personally, because it's not comfortable for the person to be in the chat. They are afraid of bullying. And what I mean by bullying? By a reaction of people to their ideas, to their suggestions, which will somehow harm their reputation, harm their self-esteem, harm their image in this team. So that's what they're afraid of. Why it happens? Because it happens. You can think about this in your team. It happens. It is happening every day. That's why people behave like that. It happens because, I think so, because there are no clearly, explicitly defined rules of decision-making process. So we have no rules how we make decisions. Very often people say that decisions are supposed to be made by the team. We're all together, so we make decisions together. Nonsense. That's why the bullying are there. The bullying is there, and that's why people are afraid of that publicity, of being in the chat in the public mode, where I say, how about we do it this way? How about we improve it this way? Oh no, you're so wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. That's the answer to that. What do you do next? You just step back and then never talk openly in the chat. You can say that this is a bad team when the team behaves like that. Every team behaves like that. Because people, we discussed that many times, people are hierarchical creatures, so we fight for the place in the hierarchy. We want to be on top of a hierarchy, everybody, I mean most people. And if there are no rules how you can climb up the top and be at the top of the hierarchy, people will define those rules by themselves, and those rules will be very ugly. If the rules are not defined by the manager, if the manager doesn't say that we make decisions in this way. If you have an idea, you post this idea as a ticket, we put this idea on, let's say, voting. It's the worst way, but still, for example, we vote for it, and then everybody has an equal amount of votes, or maybe the architect has 2 votes and everybody else has 1 vote. Then we vote for that, and then after that we put this in the backlog, and then we implement it, so on and so forth. So in this case, I'm not afraid to drop whatever stupid idea I may have in my mind. Whatever. I just drop it into the discussion. I know that there is not going to be an answer like, that's wrong, just go back home, do your homework. Like any kind of humiliation, any kind of offensive answer, offensive response to me, it's not going to happen. If it happens, even if it happens, I know that there are rules, that my idea will go through this process. I will post my stupid idea there, and no matter what they say, no matter how much they offend me with their answers, still my idea will go through the formal process, and the decision will be made just like any other idea. But in most teams, it's not true. They don't have those flows of decision making. There are no rules how we make decisions. That's why who is the most loud person in the team, who is the most aggressive, who has the biggest reputation, those people overrule everybody else. And everybody else stay quiet, and then eventually just jump out of the public conversation, and they go around those rooms and they talk to each other one-on-one. In the end, the project suffers because we lose the knowledge, we lose the information, we lose the activity from these people, we lose their energy. They don't want to waste. I mean, we lose their motivation, not energy, motivation, enthusiasm, if I may. We lose all of that. Think about this. Can you define those rules? It depends on your situation in the team, but I suggest that you think about this, that it has to be some formal process of how people suggest things and how we react to those suggestions. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.